Pittsburgh Steelers fans, what's going on? Welcome back to Blitzburg Squad. I'm Wesley Seeley, joined alongside Shane Smith. Thanks for joining us. We dive into this recap of the Steelers win over the Ravens.
I cannot believe it.
20-19 final score.
Yeah.
It literally came down to the final play, basically.
Literally.
Crazy win for the Steelers. Somehow stay alive.
Yeah. Stay alive. I mean, we're 6-5-1. So it's
Still in the hunt.
we're still on the table. Anything could happen. It's absolutely bonkers.
It is.
It leaves me very, very confused.
That's what I was going to say. It's like mind-boggling because you have a pretty good showing here, and this team had a pretty good showing offensively. A little bit, had to get going.
Tale of two halves on offense.
Yeah, defense for the most part played a really, really sound, solid game, and it's like, where was this last week? Where was this? 2 weeks ago against the Chargers, even weird, inconsistent, but I guess we'll take it.
Oh yeah, we'll take a win as a win, and anybody who wants to try to say the refs helped us win that game, that's a complete and false lie.
Flip-flop, yeah.
Yeah, flip-flop that one, because it could have been completely different. I feel like there's a few times that we could have actually ran up the score a little bit more, which we typically don't do. Just super confusing, not sure what we are as a team week to week, and that almost seems like the NFL this
you're
year.
right, yeah.
It's an odd week. Lions won.
Lions did win.
How much odder can it get?
Yeah, good point.
So we can kind of sort of wash that one off our record, that tie now, because Lions actually beat somebody. So I feel a little better about that.
And Ben didn't
too.
even play in that game, so.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So speaking of Ben, let's dive on into the offense.
Yeah, let's talk about the offense. Good old Ben. So this is probably what Ben's last home game against the Ravens, because, the rumors came out that he's probably going to retire after this season, which is kind of.
I mean, I kind of figured it.
Yeah.
I don't know if other people didn't, because it seemed to be like a shock around the world kind of thing, which confused me a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. You're right. I think it's more so like everybody can see it and everybody knows that's the good choice and the good option, but Ben's like, maybe I can do it. Maybe I can't. Maybe I should. Maybe I shouldn't. I think he was kind of on the fence still, and it was just like, what's he going to want to do? What's front office going to want to do?
Right.
So, yeah. But, yeah, so anyways, this was probably Ben's last home game against the Ravens. Finds a way to do it. Offensively, Ben and the offense kind of, more than shaky in the first half.
Oh, absolutely.
What do we have? Was it first quarter or was it first half? We had like
6.5 minutes of offensive time.
Yeah. That's horrible.
That
compared to their what? Like
23
18?
and
Okay,
a half.
23. That's a really lopsided.
You basically call it 4 minutes to 1 minute.
You're lucky that we were even in it at that point.
That it was, 10 to...
Yeah, what was it at that point?
10 to 3 at half? It was 10 to 3 at half. No, 7 to 3 at half.
Wow.
Yeah, 7-3, because Justin didn't get his first field goal, or I guess his only... No, he got 2 field goals. Got his first field goal with about 7.5 minutes into the third.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, so first half, 7 to 3.
And it could have been 7-7.
Yeah, it could have been. You're right. Yeah, offense kind of sputtered until, that last, was it the 2 minute right before half?
2 minute,
2 minute
and
drive.
Ben took over.
Yep, Ben took over, drove us right down the field, had a dime of a pass to DJ.
Great throw.
Deontay somehow dropped it over the shoulder, which, I'm not going to throw too much shade on Deontay. He's had a great season.
Right. I think that's his second drop of the year after having like 18.
And how many targets, too? Out of how many targets? It's not just like 2 drops on 50 passes. I mean, he's probably had like 80 targets.
For sure our number one, which is just absurd. I mean, he does good. And over the shoulder are not easy to do. It's just a bummer because whenever it was a game where you wanted a spark, it was like, dang, you have to... You're left with 3, and it kind of leaves that sour taste in your mouth going to half, and, you're still not looking too positive forward because our offense was still looking pretty rough.
Still sputtering, yeah. The cool thing is, though, well, cool and also strange, some reason, fourth quarter hits, and we're just like, oh, yeah, okay, let's play offense finally. Let's play Same thing with the Chargers game, same thing with this game now. It's like we finally get into a rhythm or finally get into a better I don't know if it's just Ben calling the plays or what the difference is, but somehow we're able to move the ball and decently well.
Yeah.
Able to run the ball in the fourth a little bit better. We started scored 17 points in the fourth.
Yeah, 17 of our 20 in the fourth.
So it's just weird. Like, it's confusing. I wish we would just consistently do that every quarter, but
Right.
I mean, it's nice that they were able to put together some drives, and Deontay bounced back after his drops, and Claypool had a nice 40-yard
Yeah, longest play of the game.
Yeah, it was the longest play of the game.
I mean, beat his corner on man, beat him by a good probably 5 yards.
Yep.
And Najee started getting going.
Yeah,
I don't know how many rushing yards he had in the fourth, but I would say 75% of his rushing yards came in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, especially on that one drive, it seemed like they were just running it.
7, 8 yards every time.
Benny Snell came in and looked solid too.
Yeah.
Like, finally started to just get that momentum and keep it going. And
it was weird. It was like we tired their defense out when we didn't even have that much time of possession.
Yeah.
I mean, even though we won time of possession in the second half, it was not a 4-1.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know the exact time of possession. I could look it up here if it shows on ESPN. We ended. It was Ravens had 36.5 minutes of time of possession. We had 23.5. So yeah, we had it for 17 minutes in the second half, which I'm sure wore on their defense. But like, their defense really shouldn't have been that tired.
Well, yeah, we wore them down. You're right in that fourth quarter. Maybe that was the difference. But I think they made the right strides. Whatever move they made or changes they made in the fourth, whether it was just Ben calling the plays,
right,
was the right moves, because they were able to consistently move the ball, run the ball, get some more, I don't know, like route trees or whatever they were doing, more crossing patterns. They were getting some stuff open. So
yeah, picking on Averett. I mean, it was literally anytime you've seen a wide receiver make that play, it was no joke, Averett doing it. And Averett had a crucial one where it was 3rd and 2. Deontay made a cut, tried to cut back in real hard, and Averett just ripped onto him. And we finally got a PI to go for us to give us a first down, which ultimately led to us, scoring on a much-needed touchdown, which turned out to be much needed.
Yep, took the game, yeah. Yeah, I was it's very inconsistent play. I mean, it's really not a whole lot new, though, this year. It's basically been what it's been this year. No pun intended, been what it's been. But, it's like, I don't know. At least they did it in a tough, grinded-out game, and this was a must-win.
Oh, yeah.
So
yeah, we lose this, we for sure aren't going anywhere.
Yep.
And at that point, I would have just said tank for Pickett.
Tank.
Which, it's still kind of up in the air. Like, cool, like, are we going to make it to the playoffs? But how far are we going to get? Like, are we going to keep winning? Or next week, are we going to get blown out of the water? I'm still so unsure, especially with how our offense is, that it's like, I love the win, and I love that we beat the Ravens, and I love we beat it in this fashion, but in hindsight, would it have been better to have that loss just to, like, slowly move up the ladder? And it's something that, as a Steeler fan, you don't want to think about, but after a couple of weeks of giving up 800 yards rushing and 100 points total or whatever, like, it starts kind of wearing on your mind a little bit. So it's like, I'll take the win. I'm excited, and maybe somehow we can just run the season.
Maybe, yeah, if they played the way they did today, for sure. What's your grade for offense and MVP?
I'm gonna go with just a straight C, just because it is still so up and down.
Okay.
And I mean, if you eliminate that fourth quarter, it's looking a lot worse, and so I have to go with that. MVP, I'm gonna go, and I still don't know the dude's last name. I'm gonna go our left guard, number 77. I don't know his name. I know he came in because of an injury. That dude looks like stout. Like, he was pushing the line. He was, keeping Ben upright. It like, I don't know if we just signed him, if he's been in the depth for a little while, and unfortunately it was because Dotson was out, and I think Hassenhauer's out, and so I think Haig got hurt, and so it kind of put our fourth string left guard in. But the dude played great. And I don't know if the Ravens were just that bad, or if he was just playing with a fire, like, listen, we need some help, and I'm going to be that guy. And
maybe.
So I'll give him my MVP.
Okay. And C?
Yeah.
Okay.
So you're going to go C+.
I'm actually going to go B-.
Whoa!
I think like what I said too, it's just bringing some momentum and bringing some rhythm to the offense in the fourth when it really mattered the most. Obviously, those first half was bad. Third quarter got a little bit better, and then fourth, obviously, they started bringing it to gear there. It was just, encouraging from what we've seen, especially from last week. Whew.
Yes.
And like I said too, this was just nice to see kind of seeing Ben take over the offense again too, because sometimes that gets lost with Canada. So, yeah, I'll go B-, and I think I'll go Deontay. I think he had a really solid game in the second half, especially that drop. I think he may have gotten in his head last year with that drop. But this year, just able to shake it off and then come back with 2 touchdowns, over 100 yards.
Yeah.
So yeah, heck of a game by him, and he's definitely solidified himself as our number one. So
absolutely.
Moving to the defense.
That was an exciting fashion. That's what kept us in this game the whole time.
Yeah.
Finally the Ravens broke the water in the second and was able to punch it in for the score. Freeman kind of went in untouched, but ultimately our defense did what it always does to Lamar, and it gave him absolute fits. And it continues every time I watch Lamar, and I watch Lamar play the Steelers, or I watch Lamar in general, to any of those Ravens fans, he's not a great quarterback. There was a lot of passes that were dropped that should have been caught, but there's a lot of times too, like it was, I believe it was Hollywood Brown was like wide open in the middle of our zone, 10 yards down the field, and he just, his throwing motion, watching the replay, he didn't adjust it or anything. He threw it almost in the ground, and it turned into an incomplete pass to where he could have just hit him in the numbers. None of our guys were around. It didn't have to be a tight throw, and he's just very inconsistent to where one play you can see him in like, wow, he rifled that in. That's great. And then the very next play, he could throw it way over or way under, and it's like, what are you doing, man? Like, to the point of like, you're a heck of a talent, but you got to fix your passing mechanism because it's just not right. And we feasted on him.
We did. How many sacks?
7
sacks. Yeah. Okay. I want to just say too, like, what the heck did they change in this week's practices different from what they were doing? Because how Minkah had said they need to maybe do their walkthroughs a little bit quicker. I heard Schobert came out in the press conference earlier this week, said pads were popping in practice. It's like, I don't know what they changed, but
it was the music.
It was the music. There we go. You got it. I don't know what they changed, man, but it worked. They looked like they were flying around for the most part. The first quarter, I think they were just kind of starting to get their bearings, maybe kind of starting to get their game plan. And once they made some adjustments, I don't know if it was Butler or whatever, those guys on defense, they were just like, it seemed like everybody was given more effort this game than what we've seen the past 2 or 3. You'd see, who was it? Montavis Adams or whatever that guy we picked up this week.
57. Yeah.
He showed effort. And I know he was just a new pickup, but that guy showing effort. You saw Wormley, 2.5 sacks?
Yeah.
Heck of a game by him.
He had a great game against this former team.
I saw him pursuing Lamar a couple plays, and just like, that dude's showing heart, showing pursuit. It was just good to see, man. So that's what, I don't know what happened in practice, but something changed, something worked, and whatever it is. But you're right. We do give Lamar fits all the time, so maybe we should have seen this coming. But geez Louise. It was a great showing by the defense.
It was wonderful to see. The running game didn't, Lamar was their leading rusher. He had 8 carries, 55 yards. Lamar had 253 passing, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. 1 touch came literally basically 12 seconds left in the game. And it was just, it felt like even though our corners are probably one of our weakest points, like, he was still hesitating enough to where when we were rushing 4, even 5 guys, we were still getting there and making him run out or, run up or something like that to just give him that little bit of panic. And it was very nice to see. Minkah for the second week in a row got a pick. That was nice to see, which maybe helped him. Technically could have had 2 if it wasn't for a false start, and he one-hand snatched that. I mean, it was nasty. It was just nice to see the effort. I see somebody on Twitter talked about not Joe Schobert not being good. Joe Schobert I thought was all over the field, making tons of tackles. Minkah was making tons of tackles. Ahkello Witherspoon looked great.
He did look really good.
I felt like they kind of picked on him a little bit, and I felt like he came to play. He did great. There was nobody that I seen really as a glaring weakness that I yelled about, except for Devin, but I always yell about Devin.
Yeah, I would agree though. There's like nobody that we like really got either picked on or that we picked on. We're like, hey, dude, missed the tackle, or he's consistently, taking bad angles. I mean, maybe other than Devin, but
Devin and Terrell, sorry.
Yeah. But really, there was like nobody that you can say made a bad way game-changing play, if that makes sense.
Correct, right. Didn't give up the big play. Didn't, goof it up to where they were the last guy to go. And,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, super sound game by the defense. Tons of sacks, forced fumble, a pick, and 19 points allowed, which, like you said, 6 of those were allowed in the final 12 seconds of the game.
Right.
They were probably getting tired at that point too.
Yeah. It was a lot of hurry up and all of that. So for sure, I'm sure they were tuckered.
I dig it, man. What's your grade for our defense, and who's your MVP?
So grade, I got to give them an A. They weren't perfect, so I can't go the A plus just because we did give up a couple of touchdowns. First one I wasn't so concerned about. It was the one at the end of the game where I was like, okay, if you guys could have just please let my heart have a break 1 week. That's not a major loss. That would be nice. And then my MVP, it's got to be Watt. I feel like we say him all the time, but he looked back. 3.5 sacks, a forced fumble. He was all over the place. He essentially is the one who made Lamar make that bad throw, so the 2-point conversion wasn't completed, so they didn't win by 1 point. I mean, it was just fun to watch Watt play, and now he's got 16 sacks on the year or 15 something. He's leading the league in sacks.
Yeah.
He's one ahead of Garrett now, who's on a bye this week, and it's just great to see him back and a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think I'll agree with you and go A for the defense. I think, like you said, if they would have made a stand on that final touchdown that the Ravens got right within 12 seconds, I think that would have bumped it up to an A plus for me.
Yeah,
it was fun to watch. It was just a good defensive showing. Really had to, and I think too, when we started getting momentum on offense, the defense was feeling it.
Oh yeah,
and I'm sure they played Renegade in the stadium. The stadium was rocking. It was like, dude, like the Ravens offense aren't going to move on that. Like we had the momentum all the way sky high. And it was really fun to watch. But I think I'm going to go Chris Wormley. Obviously Watt's the given, and I'll let you take that one. So yeah. I'll go Chris Wormley. I thought about going Minkah, but because he got another pick and he led the team in tackles. But I'll go Chris Wormley just because against his former team, he got 2.5 sacks.
Yeah.
And a guy, if you would have just said, hey, defensive lineman for the Steelers got 2.5 sacks, who do you think it was?
Hayward.
You would say Cam all day long.
Yeah.
But the dude came to play, and I don't know if it had something to do with it being a former team or what, but he was a wrecking force up there.
Came to play, and it seemed like he was playing a lot of snaps, too. Mm-hmm. It didn't seem like we were subbing him out. So I think we were just riding the hot hand, and he was like, all right, I'm given this opportunity. I'm going to prove that I can take over this role.
Yeah, and I'm sure he's tired of hearing all this defense stinks. They're giving up rushing yards, and they're giving up points. He's probably like, I'm going to make a difference, especially against my former team right here, right now. So heck of a game by him. And he 2.5 sacks, and he had 5 total tackles, and two of them TFLs, obviously. 3 quarterback hits. Dude was on a tear.
Yeah,
so
that's awesome. Great to see.
Special teams?
Up and down. I mean, Boz missed a field goal, which kind of was crucial. Kind of helped our heart pumping.
Yeah, extra point, yeah.
Yeah. Extra point field goal.
Yeah.
Difference of 2 points, But, very uncharacteristic. And, I mean, it literally just looked like he shanked it. Didn't look like anything at all. Like, it just almost like it caught his shoe and just, instead of going straight, it just kind of flung with his foot.
In real time, we thought it got tipped or blocked.
Yeah, it was just very odd. And then you see PH3, and PH3 had a fantastic punt. I mean,
Ooh.
64 yards, it hit the exact right way, rolled off, put him in the side of the one. Ravens went down and scored, but we're not going to talk about that point. But then he also had a couple of like iffy, shankishy ones that like they weren't going to be long punts anyways because of where the field position was, but it's like, dang it, put him on the 24. Like, I would have just wanted to see it, maybe on the 15 or the 10 or something like that, to where it's like, yeah, it was great. It was a sky punt, but just a little bit further. So it was an up and down kind of ish performance, but they didn't hurt us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that was the important part.
Right. Yeah. Because we were joking about in a game that like literally is decided by a point.
Right.
At Boswell, like, why do you have to miss the one extra point you miss has to be in a game that's decided by literally a point.
Yeah.
And thankfully it didn't come down to that, and we ended up getting a touchdown at the end, but it didn't really matter. But yeah, that, and then like you said, I think just some of the shanks from PH3, heck of a boot from 64 yards and pinned him like on the half-yard line.
Yeah.
Beautiful thing. And then, but yeah, he had two earlier in the game that was not so pretty. So where you kind of want to just the consistency that we've kind of been seeing more so throughout this whole year. Really not going to dog on them too much because they've been great, but that's where you want to see it, especially in this game where their special teams isn't going to do that with Tucker and Sam Cook.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, those two are absolutely crazy, and that's why I'm still just confused why the Ravens were like, okay, we're going to win it here.
Yeah.
I know they said that Humphrey got hurt and maybe he wasn't going to play, so maybe that factored, but you have literally, as much as I hate to say it, the best kicker in the game.
Yeah.
And you're going to say, okay, Lamar can do this. It was almost to me like the Ravens were like, okay, everybody's saying that Lamar's not winning these games, that it's Justin, which is 100% accurate.
Oh, yeah.
And so it's almost like they were like, we're going to prove that Lamar can win this game on his own.
Uh-huh.
And it backfired, which makes me chuckle. But yeah, it's just strange to me because it's like, honest to goodness, in a 1-point game, when you're relying on kickers, we couldn't have asked for two better kickers to be in this game with Justin Tucker far and above the number one, and honest to goodness, Boz is the number two.
Right on his tail.
And I don't care if anybody has somebody else that they think is number two. Those two to me are 1 and 2. I don't care what you say because those two are just about as automatic as you can get.
Yep.
And it's fantastic to see in these close games, but it was a little to where I can't I can't let them slack for things like that.
Yeah.
So I think my grade for special teams, I'll go C+.
Yeah, I was thinking C or C+, so I'll stick with C+ with you. Because I can't go lower, you know that.
Absolutely. I think you've done it one time ever. And I guess, I mean, it's going to be one or the other. I'll go with PH3 just because the 64-yard punt.
Okay, that's fair.
Oh, and I forgot. What led to the touchdown, too, was Boz on the kickoff.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point, too. I didn't
hit
think
on
about
the
that.
one and then literally went horizontal just like the punt did, put him on the 40.
Yeah,
so our defense only had 60 yards to cover instead of typically probably 25.
Yeah.
Or 75.
You're right. On their final drive of the game, the Ravens drive, they were starting at the 40 or whatever it was because of that. Yeah, that's a good point. I forgot about that. Yeah, I guess I'll go PH3 too just because Boz made a 53 in the game, but it's like, which is awesome, but it's like he'd typically be getting the praise from me, but I'm not going to.
Couple of small mistakes.
Yeah.
But overall, I guess we didn't say that they didn't detriment us, and they kind of sort of did because that kind of hindered it. But it's not like they gave up a touchdown. They didn't give up. You know, they just honestly, I think the field was just kind of tilted a little bit, and
it sure seemed like it. A couple of weird bounces.
Yeah, very weird bounces. So.
Yeah, so what? We move on to 6-5-1 now.
6-5-1. We have Thursday night with the Vikings.
Yeah, short
then
week.
We get like a small little break, and is it Chiefs or Titans?
I think Titans next, but
okay. So then I think it's Titans, Chiefs. Then it would be Browns and then Ravens to end the season.
Sweet.
So we got it. We don't have an easy schedule.
No.
Maybe the Vikings.
Yeah.
Although the Vikings just lost to the Lions, so.
True.
Of course.
Yeah.
Couldn't ask for something easy.
No,
because they're going to come out with a little bit of fire, I think.
Yeah, probably. They do have some offensive firepower too.
Yes, they do. It'll be an interesting game. Yeah, so, now do we dare talk about the refs? like I feel like we always do. They've been horrible this year.
They were so bad this game.
Like, second half, not as much. It's almost like New York finally called them and were like, listen.
Chill out on throwing some flags here, Bo.
Yeah, because it was like the first half, they were throwing them against us all the time, it felt, and then not calling them whatsoever for things that should have been.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Deontay got popped on an unnecessary, it should have been, not, they said it shouldn't have been the receiver one.
Oh, yep.
Can't even think of the word right now. But because, he wasn't catching the ball, but they said it should have been unnecessary
over
roughness.
his head.
Yeah, way over his head. He wasn't making an attempt, should have been unnecessary roughness.
TJ gets the taunting.
Yeah, TJ gets taunting, but then, some of them don't. It was like, there was just so many calls that it's like, okay, this looks very one-sided right now. And
the reversal on the challenge for Ray Ray's catch, because it was like a sequence. It was like Ray Ray's catch got reversed, and then what? There's something in Kendrick Green's face mask tackle.
Yeah.
There was something in between that, though. I was thinking
Yeah, it was like the stadium was mad.
Oh, yeah.
And there was plenty of people that were mad as well.
Refs
I mean,
were bad.
Tony Romo's actually siding with us, so I'm sure he'll probably get fined for that.
Probably.
A couple of NFL players were tweeting on Twitter like how bad the refs were being and how biased they felt they were, so I'm sure they'll get fined for that. But it's just a sequence of not even just our games, and I think we've said it before, but the refs just in total have been bad this year. It's almost like they want the spotlight on them.
Yeah.
And it stinks to see because it definitely has changed games.
I was going to say determining outcomes for sure. When you look at
specifically for the Ravens.
The Lions and Ravens game, yep.
I think back to that because they called a delay of game on Lamar and them this time as a fumble happened, and it would have been like a 20-some yard loss, but they didn't call a delay of game back then.
Mm-hmm.
And then they call a false start on like a little twitch, but they let the play go until Lamar threw the pass and Minka one-handed it
yeah.
and would have ended the game there. And then they're like, oh, false start by number 12. And it's like, well, couldn't you just blown the whistle at the first point so no throw or anything
so
would have been made?
We didn't have to see what it would have been.
It's like, come on, guys, because you literally question at some point, like, okay, if Ben would have did that and Claypool or Deontay would have been the guy like twitching, would they have let it go? Or if that fumble would have happened, would they let it go? Like, and I feel like the answer would have been, yeah, they would have let it go and the Ravens would have got the ball or something like that, and it would have not went in our favor. And so it was very, very frustrating to watch, especially in the first half.
It was. Yeah, they were crap refs.
Yeah.
Absolute crap.
It almost got better after the one line judge got hurt.
That's a good point.
Sad to say.
Yeah, hopefully it's okay, but you're right.
Anyways, I'm done rambling.
All right, yeah, quit ranting, Shane. Quit ranting on the refs. All right, I got nothing else to add, man. So,
nope.
I'm glad we got the win. We'll see what happens. I guess we're still in the hunt. We're 6-5-1. We're still not out of it mathematically. I think we've still been in it even if we lost, but we did win. Helped our chances there. Got a division win. So now we're 2-2 in the division. Woohoo! Yeah. So yeah, we got a long road ahead of us though. We got some good teams to play still. Like we said, the remaining schedule gets pretty tough here. So we'll see what happens. I think it just comes down to what Steelers team are you going to get. Are you going to get the defense that played against the Browns and you're going to get the defense that played against the Ravens tonight? Or are you going to get the defense that played against the Chargers and the Bengals?
Yeah.
It's
Hopefully
tough.
Today's defense is what we see for the rest of the season and some semblance of the second half offense.
Yes, yeah. I think just keeping guys healthy, getting guys healthy. We've been going through quite a stretch of guys out with either COVID or just some kind of injuries just lingering. So
yeah,
getting some guys back to full strength will definitely help us out. So, but all right, man. I think that about wraps it up. Appreciate everybody tuning in, listening in, and as for now and until next time, go Steelers.
Let's go Steelers.